Yair, we're in front of probably one of the most dramatic cities on the face of the earth. It's in the news every single day. This is Jerusalem behind us. What's the significance of the walls and the city itself?
Every city in antiquity had to protect itself. The way to protect, you build walls, you build towers, you convey the water inside, and Jerusalem was no different than any other city in that manner. We can see how at war times the cities would have walls. At peacetime, the cities would expand, and even to the lower levels. Over here in Jerusalem, we can see how the walls of the old city stand out. These are only maybe actually just a little over 400 years old, which is very new in the Mediterranean dating, if you want. It stands on older bases from the time of King Herod and from the Roman times, and the contour of Jerusalem had changed often with accordance to the different regime that was in power. What we see now is actually from the Turks' times.
The gates that go around Jerusalem, they're very important in history, aren't they?
Well, the descriptions that are given to us in the New Testament and in other sources of information are very important. For an example, if one wants to know where did Jesus conducted miracles in the Old City, if you want to go and be there, you need to go to the pools of Bethesda, for an example. How would you know where the pools of Bethesda are? Next to the sheep gate. Where is the sheep gate? With accordance to today's measurement, it would be at Lion's Gate. So today I would walk into Lion's Gate and I would look for a big pool that can provide water to the temple. The pools of Bethesda are there. I can stand over there and say, Jesus was here, exactly here.
Wow.
And that's the difference. When we talk about the geography and the super locations of those ancient sites, we need to find things that didn't really change. Geography does not. The covering of geography does change. The gates to the city would often be taken into consideration the geography. If one wants to go and exit a mountain towards the east, the exit will not change. The source of water will not change. Where is your grid? Where are the buildings located? That can change. So not necessarily the structure of the city today is the same structure that was at the time of Herod and Jesus 2,000 years ago. However, the gates will be located with a reference and often on the same superposition as the old gates that Jesus and the disciples would have seen when they would come to Jerusalem.
One of the exciting developments is the excavations going on with what's called the City of David. Did David actually live outside the city?
The truth is in the eye of the beholder. David didn't live outside Jerusalem. Concerning Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem today, if you would copy-paste David from antiquity and locate him in his palace today, it would be considered outside the old city walls.
Okay.
But at David's time, that was the city. The city was there. The fact that the city had expanded later on and that they were, they were strong enough and powerful enough in order to locate the city on top of the mountain to bring water up and not to locate your city all the way down where David was forced to locate his city, that doesn't change the fact that David, he lived in the city of Jerusalem. Today, if one wants to find the remains of David, taking a shovel, digging and finding a big plaque that says, "Hello, welcome, this is the house of David and Bathsheba," and the year is 945 before Christ, that would be great. That's not how archaeology works. We need to take pottery, we need to assemble, we need to stratify, we need to dig, to put in buckets, to wash, to sort, to document, to copy, to take pictures. All of that is a procedure that helps us not say David lived outside Jerusalem, but to understand and investigate where was David's Jerusalem. From here, it is actually the southern wing, just extending down south from Temple Mountain of today.
Now in the background, we're hearing the Muslim call to prayer that happens on a regular basis during the course of the day. And Jerusalem is very important to the three monotheistic religions of Earth. How do the three actually really get along?
Look, Jerusalem is a microcosmos. First, I guess that on the day that one would be able to stand in Temple Mountain to hear the muazzin call for prayer, to put his own tefillin, and at the same time to hear the bells from the churches ring and not be intimidated by that, but be able to absorb that, this is already, this is peace on earth. Until then, we have a lot of distance to cover. The way that it works out is that you have something that is called a status quo agreement, an agreement that was signed and reconfirmed and reaffirmed many times, but around 200 years ago, the status quo agreement is still being kept. And every time the status quo agreement is being challenged, even slightly, you would see this political struggle takes place in the city. So Temple Mountain, where the Dome of the Rock and the Golden Dome are located today in the ancient Jewish temple, used to be located at the time of King Herod. This is held by the Waqf. Israel is in charge of the entrance and the exit, but the Waqf are in charge of everything that is being run inside. The Jordanians are paying the salaries of the people over there. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is run by 6 different Christian denominations. Leave the Protestants out.
Okay.
The Protestants altogether,
Right.
whatever inner Protestant division you would like to call it, that is actually run in the Garden Tomb.
Okay.
And the Jews, they do run the Western Wall, for an example. But everybody can walk into the Western Wall. You would have to respect the Jews, by the way, that you dress, by putting a yarmulke if you go in. So the way it works, I would say, is a common acceptance, a certain amount of coexistence, but it is very, very much, I would say, detached from one another, especially when you talk about the educational systems that are totally separated.
Yair, thank you so much for the information about Jerusalem. It's an amazing city.
Amazing being here with
Amazing
you.
city.